Sup nerds, I'm Tom, and we're going to talk about Bunny Kingdom all the way across the sky. Yeah, so intense. In this Bunny Kingdom expansion, you get a second board that is mostly separate from the main board. There's some cards, special cards that you can play that can connect some of your fiefs from the main board to this secondary board, but it's mostly just a second place that you can start putting your bunnies down, and you have cards that use the same grid fashion, but actually with these cards they aren't numbers and letters, so you won't get them confused here. It's number of clouds and numbers. So there's 5 clouds on the 5th column here. And then you just count, if it's a 5-4, you count, here's 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's the spot they're talking about. One of the main things that this board does is, first of all, it now allows you to play with up to 5 players. I'm pretty certain you have to have this board there, because I don't think there were enough cards in the original game. But now the deck is super huge, because there's tons of cards. But a lot of the spots on this board really have those... they're called something specific, but they're unique resources. They're called, fantasy resources or something. But normally there's the fish, wood, and carrots, but then down here on the main board there's other cards that you can get that would give you tokens for these unique special resources that you could play down there to increase your multipliers, because you're mostly going by the number of spires on the buildings that you have times the number of resources. Well, that's normally times 3 unless you play these special resources. But for a lot of these areas, it's almost like they're printed on the board. When you play a card, like here, I'm playing the 4-6 over here for this new board, for the sky board. So here's the 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It has a beanstalk resource already on it. And this actually, I guess I'll get to my first complaint. And I'll say, I like the expansion. I don't think it's, amazing and really transforms the game, but it's a lot of fun. I think it's relatively easy. If you've played Bunny Kingdom, you should be able to jump right into this. But I was kind of surprised initially at how many people I was playing with didn't like it. I think it was like 2 out of the 5, which you might say that's not more than half, but still, I thought pretty much everybody would like it. But 2 out of the 5 were like, yeah, I probably would never play with this expansion again. And I was like, really? And one of their biggest qualms was the fact that the resources, these new special resources, are not printed on the board. Like, there's artwork for them, but there's still a slot there for you to put a token, which they found a little bit confusing. So I guess once you play this 6-4 and it has the beanstalk, I will play it, I will place my dude, and then I'll place the token for the resource. And the only thing we could think of is maybe for camp tokens, because there's those cards that would let you place an encampment or whatever. And if you place an encampment on one of these areas, you don't get that special resource until another player plays that card and claims that space away from you. I think it's something that once you know it, but they were having a lot of trouble. They felt like the iconography didn't translate very well, and that ruling type of thing wasn't very clear. And that there are areas on the board where you're looking around and you're saying, oh, well, that just looks like a normal spot to me. But if you look real carefully, then you'd see, oh, wait, actually, that's one of those special resources. You can see the outline of where a token is supposed to go. So they weren't necessarily looking at that saying, ooh, if I place a guy here and a guy there, then I'll be able to, plan my strategy of being able to have all these resources for the multiplier. And I understood that, but, after your first game, I think, or 2 games even, you're definitely going to know that. You're going to be able to look on the board and say, well, all this funky artwork, yep, those are all special resources and all different wacky things that you got to be looking out for. They also have these really pretty carrot dells that are 5 spires, but that's the max you're going to have for that certain area. Unless you're counting points for cards, there was a funky rule in there that actually I didn't even realize until recently, so we might have played our first game wrong initially. When you're counting points for the treasure cards and stuff, if you need to count a certain fief, then these carrot dells kind of don't count. Like, if all the other spires in your in that fief are more than the carrot dell, you can ignore the carrot dell and count those 6 or 7 or whatever else you had. Otherwise, you would just count this as 5, trying to give you a little bit extra boost for those points at the end there. And it's a minor rule, but I'm kind of curious as to why that was in there. The other new mechanic that this expansion adds to the game is coins. And what coins do is, first of all, you'll get a coin every time you create a new district, which is when you have 2 bunnies or more together. But like combining districts doesn't work. So it's just like I place a bunny, place a second bunny, boom, that's a district, get a coin. Over here, I place a bunny, place a second bunny, boom, that's a district, get a coin. Or here's a bunny, here's another bunny, they're separated by a space, and then boom, place a bunny in the middle, now that's 2 or more, I get a coin. There are also some cards that will give you coins, but the point of coins is at the very end of the game, not at the end of every round, you will multiply the number of coins you have times the number of the non-regular resources. So not the wood, the stone, or sorry, not the wood, fish, or carrots, but you know, the unique ones that you get up here and I'm just gonna look it up. So you multiply the coins by the luxury resources you get down here and the wondrous resources you get up here. Those are the terms. So that can be a lot of points, you know, a lot of extra bonus points to get right there at the end. So I like how that incentivizes you to not just put all your eggs in one basket, to separate out and create a bunch of different little fiefs, right? Because then you'll get a lot more coins, and you can multiply those by the wondrous resources that you have. Like you could even just throw a single person down here on a luxury resource and then put a second one on another luxury resource, and then you'll get a coin for that, and now you'll have 2 times 1. Hey, you're actually getting points there, and you didn't even have to build a building. So I do like the fact that they are incentivizing both strategies. Make a bunch of fiefs or make one big fief, because like the carrot dells and all the wondrous resources, all those multipliers, you know, you're incentivized to do both things. But the only negative that I have, and I'm just kind of mirroring the negatives that those other 2 people I had when we played the 5-player game recently, is that they were saying that there's a lot of push towards this area right here. There's a lot of new things, a lot of cool things. There's a lot of value in using these rainbows to connect you to down here. That does kind of draw you away from the main board a little bit. Sometimes when you get a hand of cards and it's all main board cards, you're kind of like, oh, okay, I guess that's happening. I'll get those. You know, there's so much. It's not unbalanced. This isn't broken, but there's so much fun and cool and new and different here that, you know, it might make you look at the main board as being like, oh, well, you know, I'm no longer interested in that. I want to come over here and do this. But other than that minor complaint, and really, that's not even really my complaint, just kind of, you know, echo chambering for the other people that, you know, I was playing with, giving them a voice here. But I mean, I really enjoyed the expansion. I don't think it's essential. I don't think I need to play with it every time, but I certainly will play with it anytime people really want to play, or when I want to play with 5 players. I do like that it has 5 players, but I'm pretty confident that you would mostly need to play with the expansion board in order to make that happen. But you know, I don't think it's too complicated. If you've played Bunny Kingdom once, you'll be able to jump right into it. And hey, if any of what I was talking about in this video sounds interesting to you, I'm going to put a purchase link to this expansion, the base game and whatnot, in the description box down below. Go get yourself a copy. And while you're down there, do not forget to subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored.